no money, that's an asshole. It wasn't a phase.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Senior Citizen Podcast. We are here with none other than Taylin from Least. Yay! How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm great. Also sweating, like you said.
It's unreasonably hot in here today. I don't think the room was built for so many people, as our lovely Dan said just a couple minutes ago. So it's fine. We're all used to being in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, I want to talk about you. Basically, this is what the podcast is about. It's about people keeping this scene alive and revealing all their cringy, dark secrets from when they were teenagers.
Oh, great.
So tell me a little bit about you growing up, like getting into this music scene. Who was your biggest influence and stuff?
Okay, so growing up, I spent most of my life in Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up, and I got into the scene because, well, first off, my brother growing up used to be in a lot of punk bands, and so at first I got into like Green Day and NoFX and Social Distortion and stuff like that. And that led me to go out on my own. And I think the first album I ever bought that was kind of like scene, I guess you could say, would be They're Only Chasing Safety by Under Oath.
Oh.
So that's what really got me into it. And then I started listening to heavier music and also, like My Chemical Romance and all the classics like The Used. But yeah, so once my dad bought me a guitar, it was just kind of like, it was over. Like, I want to play music like Under Oath. I want to play music like My Chemical Romance, stuff like that.
Did it come easily to you, like playing music and learning the guitar and stuff?
A little bit, because my dad was also a touring musician for most of his life. And like in the 60s, 70s, he did a lot of stuff. And then he was mostly doing cover bands, so I learned everything from him. Like, he kind of taught me how to learn on my own. So I pretty much taught myself how to play guitar. I taught myself how to sing. And
what was your favorite thing to play back in those days?
As far as like an instrument, or
no, like what your favorite song to play, like if you were doing covers and stuff.
Favorite song. Okay. I mean, I really like Blue and Yellow by The Used. That was something I played over and over again. Also, what is it? That's Decade Under the Influence by Taking Back Sunday.
Okay.
I cried in my room a lot to that, so yeah.
What I'm gathering here is that you are a lot cooler than I was.
I wouldn't say that. I don't know.
My favorite memories, I can't play an instrument for shit. Like, I have zero musicality. And in high school, I was friends with a lot of people who, were very well into music and good at it too. And there was this one guy, looking back at it now, it's like, girl, what were you thinking? But he would walk around barefoot with a guitar that was all like
That's
drawn
cool.
on anywhere.
Barefoot.
Movie theater, mall.
Hippie. Okay.
Very much so. Floral pants. It was
All
great.
right.
Once again, me, like 15 years old, hopelessly in love. Like, this is my person. For those audio-only people, the biggest eye roll I could possibly muster just now. And he would walk around playing Never Shout Never songs and Boys Like Girls and all. And I was just, you could see the hard eyes popping out. Embarrassing moments.
Yep.
So that's why I like asking people what they used to play to gauge, like, what they were kind of into or not.
Yeah, I was more of like, I was like a scene kid growing up, but so I would follow that crowd. There was only like a very small sect of people at my school that were into that kind of music. So like we all listened to the scene music growing up, and then I kind of like flip-flopped and just started listening to deathcore and hardcore and stuff like that. I guess because I didn't want people to make fun of me anymore.
Right.
So I thought that, like, okay, I'll stop listening to whiny emo music and start listening to, like, tough guy hardcore and everyone will like me now. That wasn't the case.
Right.
And it's funny because, like, I feel like I look way more like I wanted to when I was 16 now than back then, because back then I just, like, always shaved my head and, like, or
so
band shirts.
You wanted
and
to look
stuff.
like hardcore as
I wanted
heck.
to be like I wanted to be like a MySpace scene girl.
Right.
And I wasn't.
We all did.
I wasn't allowed to do that in conservative Pennsylvania. Right. So, yeah.
So, what age did you move down to Miami? Well, South Florida.
I moved to South Florida in 2014. So
Okay.
I've almost been here for a decade.
Woo woo.
It's been.
What was the culture
nice.
shock like? Like, it's so different down here.
It was really crazy because like I grew up in a part of Pennsylvania where it was mostly white people. I would say like 95%. And my only experience with people outside of that bubble were like a few black kids here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And so moving down here, like I feel like was a lot better for me because it really broadened my horizons and it allowed me to meet new people and like experience new things, especially like in Miami, like coming to Miami, going to Fort Lauderdale, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even like the music scene being completely different. It's a lot more spread out down here, like as far as like different genres go. In Pennsylvania, it was all like everyone was doing music. Like that was the only thing to do. So like you were either a musician or like you were a country kid. And
the two just polar opposites.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we did for fun up there, and everyone threw house shows and stuff like that. And moving down here was definitely like, okay, so I'm gonna have to search a little bit more to find people that kind of vibe with the same music.
Right.
But once you get into the scene, then it's just a flood of people.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I fell out of the scene a couple years ago. Like I was really into it as a teenager, and then as I grew up, I was like, I don't know, just life happens, you know, you start going to college and whatever, and you kind of fall out of things, especially if you're not playing. It's very easy to just disappear. Mm-hmm. So I know what you mean, like getting back into it, like it's such a community. You really have to look for it, though. Like there's a lot of research that goes behind it. And I'm very happy I came across your band because you guys are super dope.
Thank you.
I came out to a show. You guys have an amazing stage presence.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And where you mentioned that you look more like what you wanted to look like when you were 16. I see you went through with tattoos. Is there any one of these that you want to talk about?
I don't know. I mean,
they're so fun. Oh my God, the Pusheen.
Thank you. I don't know, really. I mean, like I guess the Pikachu. That doesn't really. Not all of them have meaning. Like some of them are just kind of like, hey, I had $200 at the time. I guess
not even the meaning. If there's just like a funny story behind it or something.
Story.
Yeah. Because I'm not one of those like everything has to have a deep meaning about my childhood trauma.
I mean, I guess the bubbles. Well, I have a bubbles tattoo on my wrist, and like I think I got this like a year or two ago, and my friend at the time, we were getting ready to go out somewhere, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna be the prettiest girl at the party." And
it's stupid TikTok noise.
and literally the next day, I went with her, and she was like, "What are you gonna get?" And I was like, "You'll see." And it ended up being bubbles. She like screamed.
I'm gonna be the prettiest girl at the party.
Yeah. I don't know. There isn't really like that many funny things. Not many like funny stories about the tattoos. They're all kind of like a different time in my life where I felt like this is important to encapsulate on my body for some reason. So,
what was the idea behind the Pikachu in the rose there?
The
like
Pikachu. Well, I mean, like I've been obsessed, like being a millennial. I'm pretty obsessed with Pokemon in general. I've been playing it since I was 6 years old. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I went into a tattoo shop in Deerfield one afternoon, like 4 or 5 years ago now. And this woman was like, well, I'm doing like a going away sale because I'm moving to New York tomorrow. And she had this just giant, like ceiling to floor poster of all the different things that she was offering. And like 50% of that poster was just all different Pokemon coming out of some sort of flower.
Oh, wow.
So I was just like, I mean, like, Pikachu has always been one of my favorites because, I don't know, that's the one that I gravitated toward. Everyone was like, oh, red versus blue. And I was like, what about yellow, though? Like, I just want to play yellow. I just want to walk around with Pikachu. So, yeah.
Good stuff. I like that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can't stand the people that are like, every tattoo needs to have a wholehearted meaning behind it with a long thought out process. Like, it's just... So we just,
they're not all going to be like that. Like, I have tattoos on my legs and stuff that are basically just memes. So.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite, like, on my entire body?
Yes, on your entire body.
I don't know. I have one for my grandmother on my back when she passed away. I have one on my leg that's basically just a giant fox with a monocle and a top hat smoking a pipe. And it says Dreamer underneath it.
I love it. That one sounds like it's supposed to have meaning, but it probably doesn't.
It feels like it should.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Like, it was just like a spur of the moment when I was 21 type of thing. And I was like, again, literally, I got my paycheck. It said $200 on it. And I said, take my paycheck. And
you didn't even cash it out. Just straight up hand him the check.
Here, I'm going to write this out to you. You take this. But all I did was tell the guy, like, hey, I want something to do with a fox, and I want him to look kind of regal.
You got a dapper fox.
There we go. I got a dapper fox.
Well, tell me a little bit about Least, how the band came together, and,
Least.
you know, hopefully it's someday we can have them all, and we can have the entire band here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So Least actually started in 2019, and I was doing everything by myself. I was writing all the songs, doing all the, recording, vocals, lyrics, stuff like that. And at first, I wasn't really taking it seriously because I was just like, I need another outlet for creating something. At the time, I was in a band called Migrate that we had been together for like 5 years, and we had been talking about breaking up. And I was like, I'm going to start another project and just do it for fun and not care what happens. And then... yeah, so I released a few singles, I think like 4 or 5 by myself. And then in 2020, 2021, when the height of the pandemic was going on, I started taking it more seriously because that was my only musical project at the time. And I had an EP put together that I crowdfunded. And all of a sudden, my friend was like, I really like these demos. I'm going to send this to my friend Rob. Rob Froese is the owner and operator of Friend Club Records that we're signed to out of Buffalo, New York. And he sent it over to Rob, and Rob like immediately contacted me, and he was like, I love this. I love what you're doing. I love the message. And like, I want to sign you guys. And it was crazy because like no one had ever approached me like that before with any of my musical projects.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so like 2021 we put out the first EP, which is what we have pressed on vinyl and tapes and stuff. And that's what Friend Club Records does for us. They press all of our music and do promotion for us and stuff like that. And then part of the agreement was kind of like, well, hey, if we're going to press this stuff for you, then we need you to play out. I was not ever going to play out as Least.
Oh.
When I started it, and even like once it got toward like getting signed and stuff, I was like, I'm done with it. I don't want to play out anymore. Like, I'm just kind of like sick of doing this. I just want to do a studio project. And I was like, well, I got to find members now. And that's kind of what happened in 2021. So
that's so cool, though, that like going into something with zero expectations and having it come out to be so great, Congratulations for that.
It definitely like evolved a lot too, from what it originally was, you know, just like so many different progressions.
No, that's something to be like really proud of. I do have one curiosity though. The Wendy's logo, Least merch, love it. Where did that idea come from?
Okay, so I don't know, like we started doing this whole thing where we would tweet at random like
Companies?
random companies, mainly fast food places.
But Wendy's is so sassy.
I know, and we loved it, and we were like, this is gonna work. But like, you know, after tweeting at like 100 different places, Rob was finally like, well, let's tweet at Wendy's. And we, for a time, like, we had people arguing online, like, is Least emo or are they pop punk? And that was like a whole thing that was going on for a while. And finally, Friend Club Records tweeted like, hey, Wendy's, like, what do you think about this? And they tweeted back finally after like trying to reach out of them. And they were like, everyone should listen to Least. And then after that, they kept responding to every time we tagged them in something.
Oh.
And we just started telling people, oh, we're sponsored by Wendy's. Like they
at the next show, I want like free Wendy's to go. Then like,
I
damn.
Know, I know. And then we started a whole petition. We started a petition to get them to let us play at one of their locations in South Florida, and that never came to fruition, but.
There's a band that I just found. Well, actually, did they ever answer if they're emo or pop punk?
No, they never chimed in on that, but they just said that, you know, everyone should listen to
that.
our
Oh, okay,
EP.
that was it. They were just promoting their. Because why not both? You know. Like,
yeah.
I'm
emo
a
and
huge.
pop punk.
I'm a huge pop punk fan, and pop punk can be very emo. Like if you've checked out Real Friends' latest EP, I cried. On the way to work. Not cute. Where was I going with this? Oh, there's a band in Orlando. That's actually a pop punk band. And they've been like doing like random stuff. Like in their bio, they're like, we're bands from Home Depot and Lowe's, because they go in and they'll just start selling their merch at a merch table. And then,
really?
Yeah, or they'll just start playing. And they got kicked out of a mall for playing in the mall. I was looking, they're really good at social media. I follow them. I don't remember their name. Whoever you are, I'm going to reach out to you. Please come down to South Florida because they're in Central.
408 or...
No,
408?
No idea what it was, but maybe you guys
No,
should take that approach. I mean, just show up at the Wendy's, you know?
Just show up.
Just ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's a good idea. Just play in the Wendy's parking lot. Like playing at the Denny's, you know.
So how'd you find the band members that make up Least? Like, what was the criteria at this point?
The criteria was anyone that could play the songs and wanted to join. And
were they people that you knew before, or was it like...
yeah, so at first I was playing bass and I was singing. And then I had Dario and Al on guitar, and they had the guitarist had reached out to me. They were living in Orlando at the time, and they were moving back down here. And, you know, I had actually tried multiple times to get them to join, and they were like, nah, it's too far. Like, we don't want to make that drive. I was like, okay. And then once I put out the EP, and they reached out to me, and they were like, hey, we really dig this sound. We want to join. So that's how they joined. And then the drummer from my previous band, Migrate, Greg Greenberg, who actually did all of the drums for the last couple singles and then the upcoming EP as well. He was the original drummer. Mm-hmm. So we were just a 4-piece for quite a while, like about a year and a half. Greg stepped back, and then we added in Alex on bass and Jay on drums. And all of these people were people that I had either been in bands with before or played with their bands elsewhere. That's kind of how it always happens. Like,
I love it that you didn't hold a grudge. Like, oh, you said no before. Why do you want to come over now, huh? Like,
yeah, what do you like now?
I would have been petty about it. Nah, now I got to think about it.
I was just super excited that someone, like, because both of them are just phenomenal guitar players. And, you know, I didn't have to teach them a single thing. They just listened to it all by ear, and they're like, okay, we got it.
That's awesome.
And then we just started playing shows, and it was like, that's the dream, because my whole life I've been teaching people how to play the things I want them to play, and it just never worked out.
I'm glad that it's something like cool when creatives just click, like you know, it works out just fine. And can you walk me through a little bit of your songwriting process? Like, is there a formula, or is it I'm feeling a lot today, so I'm gonna put it on paper, or
Honestly, the songwriting process, I can say, obviously in the past it was just me sitting down at my computer and just fooling around with chords and stuff, and then once something sounded good, I would just immediately record it, and then write the lyrics afterwards. Now,
so lyrics come after.
For me, lyrics always come afterwards.
Okay.
Because like, I don't know, I have to feel the emotion of the chords and the progressions all together and like get an idea from that. Otherwise, I can't just write lyrics on their own without a song in mind. So with members now, it was, definitely much more of a different process because they started, the first thing that we released together as a band without just me doing everything was, I think, Power Blazer, our song Power Blazer. And so writing that, I wrote all of the rhythm guitar stuff, and then the other guitarist came in and added different layers. Greg did the drums after the fact. So like we did all the guitars and bass first. After I always came up with the idea for the rhythm guitars. And I would lay that down, and then someone comes in, listens to it a few times and tries out like 100 different leads over different parts, and then we argue about it and take stuff out, put stuff back in.
Kickbox for a little bit to sort it out.
And then once like all of the demos were, I did not write lyrics until every single song that we wanted was finished.
Oh wow.
And then I took maybe like a week or two, wrote lyrics, and then recorded them by myself at my home studio. And like that's kind of been our writing process so far. We've been talking about like wanting to change it up where we actually like sit down all together and write everything out together.
Do it as a unit.
Yeah, because up until now it's always just been like, hey, you do this, you do that, and like we'll keep it all separate and then throw it together somehow and then talk about it.
Right. That'd be cool to like if you guys do change that method, if we see like a noticeable change in the music, and then from there you can decide if it's for better or for worse.
Right.
That's also the fun part. Everything's trial and error, right?
Definitely.
But everything's been done at such a professional level for you guys, which I also find awesome.
Well, thank you.
So. Yeah, because it like reverts back to I don't know if you've heard of Insignificant Other. That's
yes. My old band played with them at Fest. That was
I wanted to go to Fest.
Amazing. Yeah.
So basically, back in the day, I want to say this was more than 10 years ago. She had an album that was called Songs About Teeth.
Okay.
And it's a whole story of like meeting a guy and a breakup, and the 5 stages of grief for a teenage girl, I guess.
Right. I thought you said teeth.
Yeah, songs about teeth.
Oh, teeth.
So she roasted this guy. She
Not
was
grief.
like, no, it's about the grief of like a breakup. But basically in the song, she was like, fuck you and your crooked teeth, bro. Like,
okay.
So I guess Homeboy probably knows who he is. That album disappeared. It's not on Bandcamp. It's not on Spotify. You can tell that she recorded this in her room on a ukulele, like on recorder on her iPhone. Like, but it's so good. Like lyrically, the ukulele, for the love of God, put it back out. I have a copy saved onto my hard drive, so I have access to it. But for other people, I really need it to be out in the world.
Right. And sometimes like those are some of the best albums, honestly.
They
like
are.
when people just like hit record on their phone and just don't worry about post-production or anything like that.
And the voice was lovely and the ukulele was great. Like it was, for the love of God, please.
Awesome.
The world needs that. But no, it's so cool that you know how everything has come together for you.
Yeah.
I have a game.
Okay.
So basically, you have to tell me who you think is going to win.
Okay.
Versus, it's all of humanity versus a single bloodlusted human who gains the stats and intelligence of whoever they kill. So one day, a single human wakes up with the sole intent of killing all of humanity. The biggest problem with them is that they gain the stats of whoever they kill, including the strength, speed, stamina, durability, and intelligence.
Okay.
For the sake of the argument, this human can bench press 50 kilos, run at 5... meters per second. I don't know.
Okay. Pretty fast.
For around the minute due to stamina, and has the durability of average human skin. There's different rounds here. Let's pick the most interesting one. The human starts their massacre with a short-range Swiss Army knife. And that's all they have.
They're losing.
You think they're losing?
Short-range Swiss Army knife. Someone pulls up with a Glock.
But they don't know. No one's prepared for this.
Okay.
And he's bloodlusted.
I know, but it's not like a superhuman being, And you got even if someone was caught off guard by this, I feel like they could, if they walk up, if this blood-lusting human thing walks up to someone that is way too large, then they're gonna get stomped.
They just lose their knife.
Yeah, also I don't know, with Swiss Army knife, you get stabbed by one of those, you're not dying.
Right.
You're not. There's no way. Now, if it was a baby or a child, if that was the first thing that they went after, then yeah, sure.
Besides the morality, but what stats would you even gain from killing a child? A baby.
True. I don't know, the ability to not break a bone after falling out of a 2-story window. Maybe.
Okay, let's see. Another round. The human starts as a 12-year-old child and has the appropriate stats.
Okay. Wouldn't that be...
Is it a disadvantage to be 12?
I feel, yes, hormones and puberty. I feel like maybe that would just... I don't know, ADHD brain. I feel like...
But that makes you, not sus. Someone's going to be it's just a 12-year-old.
What do they have a weapon or anything as a 12-year-old, or are they just kind of
Let's give them a sword.
Yeah, people are dying. People are dying. This kid is going to go unnoticed in society and just walk up to someone with a katana and
Well, it's an anime convention.
Yeah, people are dying.
Yeah.
No one at the anime convention is running his shit.
This was dark. A bloodlusted 12-year-old at an anime convention with a katana.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whoever's listening. That was dark.
I mean, I don't feel like anyone at the convention is gonna. They're all gonna have fake lightsabers and, I don't know, plushies and things like that. So,
guard yourself with the squishmallows.
Yeah. So I think the first scenario, no. They're getting killed. They only have a Swiss Army knife. Second scenario, you can blend in a little bit more.
Yeah.
You have a way better weapon.
But at the end of the day, how big is humanity? And how many stats are you really gaining?
Right.
Yeah. So it's a big opponent. So I do think I have to say that humanity wins in this case. We're not all losing to one bloodlusted 12-year-old.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I wanted to give you the opportunity for a shameless plug. You can go ahead and promote whatever you want.
Plug.
Shameless plug. Plug in whatever you want to promote, whatever you want people to look at, to know.
Go. Okay, so Least. Obviously, that's
Absolutely
why I'm here.
not. No.
Everyone listen to Least. You can find us everywhere at Least is a Band. That's all social media platforms. We just very recently put out a song called Alexandrite and Pearl. That is the last single that we're putting out before we release a 5-track EP called Sitting in the Best Light in July. Again, through Friend Club Records. Check them out too. They have amazing stuff that you can get: vinyl, tapes, shirts, things of that nature. But yeah, so that's coming out in July, and then we are doing a short tour through Florida and Georgia. One of the stops in Georgia, we're playing, I think it's called Summer Slaughter Fest. Not Slaughter. I forget what it's called.
It's okay. We'll look it up and we'll tag it.
It's from Thicker Than Blood Booking. Put it together, and bands from Florida like Murder Afloat, Spider Inside Her, Illuminate Me, Brave New World, bands like that are playing. Then I'm really excited for that.
Good stuff.
So yeah, that's in Columbus, Georgia on July 22nd.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Of course.
I want to buy my Wendy's t-shirt. And hopefully we can get the whole band on here eventually at some point. But for now, that's it for the Senior Citizen Podcast.
Yay, thank you.